met Laurentia Enam here on a rainy morning. Doing her house chores and quickly preparing for school. She lives in a rented single room at Tetekope, a suburb of Keta in the Volta region. The final year nursing student at the Keta Nursing Training College had a mental health nursing paper to write that morning. Enam first noticed a white patch on her skin which looked like a birthmark at age 12.
It was just a little spot that came, but then I didn't know it was a skin condition. What my mom thought was when you're giving birth, there are times like the baby will have some birth mark on there. So she thought it's one of those birthmarks.
Though friends of Enam make her situation look normal, onlookers will quickly turn to stare whenever they pass by. During my interview with Enam, she relived her past and broke down.
When I was in JSS, I felt depressed always. Always I'll be crying. I even tried to commit suicide. It's one of those things. What happened? I felt very bad, and then whenever people are looking at me, people are passing scary comments, and when you go to some occasions to all eyes on you, and you'll be like, wow, am I the only person here looking like this? And you feel like doing something to end your life.
As the days and months went by, the white patches kept spreading to other parts of her body.
My mom decided to take me to the hospital. We went there about when I was getting to 15 or 14. It was just something on the left arm, then it moves to the toes. The dermatologist was like, there's no cause. He couldn't find anything causing it, so it's a normal skin.
According to dermatologists, vitiligo is a condition where white patches develop on one's skin due to loss of color from areas of one's skin.
A disease due to the absence of the melanocytes. Those cells which produce the melanin. And the melanin is that black substance you find on the skins of all human beings. It doesn't mean that it's also not there in the white race. But in the black race, it is prominent, partly because of its activity. It's clear that with the sun in tropical countries, there is more activity of these melanocytes. And in fact, it has been found out that it isn't the number of melanocytes in the black race which is different from the number of melanocytes in the white people, but it is because of the production of this melanin and how it's spread on the skin.
Professor Edmondele, a dermatologist, further explained there are types of vitiligo. Diagnosis is done clinically.
The fact that there are different distributions, you have the localized one, then you may find it on only your ears, around your ears. You may find it your anal region. Some people find it on the lips alone, and that is small. But others is segmental. That means you find it on just one part, one sector of your body, and you find some on the leg alone, and linear, and a line form, you have it. So, and some unfortunate cases, you have it the diffuse form. It is all over. And that the extreme, and that's why we call it universal vitiligo, universal. When it is in different cases, it's called generalized. That means generalized in different parts of the body. Generally, it is the local forms that we see initially. And of course, if you see that one initially and you don't go for medical assistance, then it may continue to grow. But the good news is that normally it starts. And at a certain stage, even independent of treatment, it stops there. But other cases, it progresses.
For some persons with vitiligo, the situation attacks their soul and psyche. Others feel the disease has trapped them and kept them away from life's goals. But Enam is not like them.
I want to be a nurse. Vitiligo is something like if you don't educate people much on it, they won't have the idea on what happened to you. It helps in my field. I thought about it, going to the world and relatives, and at times doctors also ask me what happened. I do educate them on it. That is, it's a skin condition. I always feel good whenever I educate people much about it.
Studying nursing, I asked her if she thinks patients will be comfortable with her.
I've never experienced that before, like a patient not want me to care for him or her. I've never experienced that before.
Is it that they know your condition, that's why they allow you to?
I don't think they knew about my condition. I don't think.
Don't they get scared?
But it is scared. No, I've never experienced something like that before. There was one time that I went to the children's ward and one child was like crying, and I went to the mother and I was educating her on it, so she was able to calm the child, and we move on to the nursing procedures. That's how it is.
She has other dreams which she believes are possible to achieve.
Time presenter in the mundo. That's what I always wish to be, but yeah, I think it's possible.
Enam's dream of being a presenter is not far-fetched. Lee Thomas, a broadcaster, author, and motivational speaker, travels the world sharing his story of personal change while challenging people to live their best life by connecting to their creative perspective in the midst of chaos. Also suffers from vitiligo. According to myfoxdetroit.com, he first shared his story on TV in 2005. It was a tough decision, but the story made national news. 2 years after that, Turning White, the memoir he had written, was released, and that made international news.
Hi, my name is Lee Thomas, and I've had vitiligo for over 20 years. It started off as a spot on my scalp, and then it's grown to almost take over completely. It seems like I lost all my pigment at one point, but it's coming back, and it's been difficult for me to deal with. Sometimes I would hide, and then I learned to change the way I thought of it, and the negative things that have happened is people have stared at me, moved to the other side of the elevator, didn't want to shake my hand, kids have cried. The positive things that have happened is I think as internally I've become a better man.
According to the Indian Journal of Dermatology, about 1 to 2% of the world's population suffers from vitiligo. While Vitiligo Support International says half of those with the skin disease are affected before the age of 20 and about 95% before age 40, vitiligo is across all race and no respecter of persons. Another famous person with that condition is the late Michael Jackson, who in the early 90s revealed that the disorder was behind his skin turning brown to white. Enam boldly displays her pictures on Facebook, and interestingly, she proudly contested for the Eastern Volta Ghana Nurses Midwives Association beauty pageant in 2013, where she was specially recognized.
I went to the pageant because I want people to say no matter what happens, you still have what it takes to do what you always love doing. To tell the world that even though I have vitiligo, I can still contest for a beauty pageant like that.
According to patient.co.uk, about 1 in 200 people develop vitiligo, while about 1 in 5 affected people have some other family member who is also affected. The same website states there's no way of predicting how much the skin will be affected when the first patch develops. The white patches are usually permanent. 23-year-old Enam, the only girl among her siblings, says her condition is genetic.
My brother is having it. For him, mine started earlier on before his own. It was just something we are not expecting. We thought I'm the only one that will have it, but before we realized he's also having some spots. So his is not that severe as my own. My great auntie was having it, but then they don't know it was a skin condition or something. They thought it's as a result of a spiritual attack or it's a curse or something like that.
Dermatologist Professor Edmond Dele explains the type of vitiligo Enam has.
Enam has a generalized vitiligo, and so it's worrisome.
He indicated vitiligo is not curable.
It is treatable. We have not yet found a cure because I wish we had one. In the initial stages, when it's only on one patch, people talk of grafting, taking part of your skin, which has normal melanin, and putting it on there. And some people have had successes with it. The good news is that vitiligo is not a contagious disease. So we shouldn't be afraid to hug people who have vitiligo, to be with people who have vitiligo, because by touching him, by kissing him, by embracing him, you won't be infected by the disease.
Some health personnel believe vitiligo is a widely misunderstood condition that needs more awareness to help people see patients beyond their skin.
Society's scorn on these people, trying to isolate them. And what we say in dermatology is the leprosy complex. That it seems people who have skin diseases, we all think they are lepers. And so we don't want to get near them out of fear. Society, again, will not accept that this is not the fault of the patient. It's a genetic thing or is acquired for no fault of the patient. But society may think that it's an evil spirit in the family causing it. And what is not the person's fault. So it is because of these belief systems that instead of finding a scientific way of explaining it, in the villages and even among intelligent people, we always want to say that it's something which has happened in the family, and so it's a punishment to the family. So society judges you unfairly. So this way, if society is educated on this, it is our duty as a society to come together to help them.
The sun can really be a nightmare for vitiligo patients, thereby the need to protect their skin from the sun.
The greatest enemy of people with vitiligo is actually the sun rays, because lacking this pigment which will protect them against the sun's rays, which may lead to the development of cancer of the skin. The story about vitiligo is protection against the sun. So you have what we call sun protective factors. In this case, you have to get those potent ones, which are above 70 or 80.
Affected skin burns much more easily than normal skin if exposed to sunlight.
Very terrible. It's if like when you touch a hot suspend, like that kind of transmission. The plates just change color, yeah, to red, somehow red and pink. Yeah. So when it happens like that, I normally cool it down with cold water just to reduce the heat. Yeah. After that, then it will just start peeling off because it got bent. So after cooling, then it will start peeling off. That's how it does. So I don't normally stay under the sun.
Professor Dele noted other autoimmune diseases are slightly more common in people with vitiligo.
It's a skin disease. Some other internal organs may be affected, like those organs like the thyroid glands, the adrenal glands, which help to have the thyroid melanin stimulating hormones. So that's why we talk about doing a general examination and find out whether there isn't even a tumor, internal tumor, which can also make you to lose all your pigment by toxins, radiation, and all those. There are simple diseases in Africa which can simulate a vitiligo. For instance, somebody who has leprosy, he may have these patches and you think that is vitiligo, but it's not vitiligo. Somebody who has burns, he will leave patches which will look like vitiligo. Somebody who has a craw, a pityriasis versicolor, simple disease, but you have what we call the achromic type, the type that the pigment is also gone, and it looks as if it's vitiligo, but that is not.
But cost of treatment is very expensive.
To do a full treatment, because it's not 1 month, it will go to about some 1,000 or 2,000 if you are to do it continuously. And we must protect you with sunscreen, so about 6,000 cedis. If it's in the initial stage, we could be able to help you. In the extreme case, of course, it means it's a long-term one, because there is hope. You cannot say that there will be no hope, but you need something like 30 to 50,000 cedis to do these initial things, check the liver function test, get the drugs in.
Should the prejudice about vitiligo on the part of health professionals be a concern? Can they be blamed?
I think that it is very difficult to put the blame on the health professionals, because dermatology is a specialized field. Even for those of us who have been with it for 44 years, sometimes when you see the case, again, the prejudice itself, the